Okay, let's continue in section 5.5 about trinomials. We're deep in the heart of it right now, the heart of the jungle here. And we're going to take on the so-called harder trinomials. The only thing that makes them more difficult is they lead with something other than x squared. They lead with a number times x squared, okay? And so, again, what we'll do is you can look at this example, multiply, and what's important is to see the products, what's going on here, here, and here, okay? So, you see patterns here. What happens is the factors of 6 here are 2 and 3. And you're going to see that happening right there. 2 times 3 is 6. And 3 times the factors of 15 are also in play. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so those guys have to be established. So you can see, and then inside here, you've got 2 times a factor of 6 multiplies with a factor of 15. A factor of 6 with 15 again here. The 2, I don't know. It's a matter of just, why don't we just look at examples and see how this goes? But it's good to see the mechanics of it. See, I'm saying right here, finally, I give up. It's twice as complicated because you have all these numbers. Okay, so reading the notes here a little bit. Okay, let's try factoring this guy. The first thing you notice is right away, we see that we can't go this. It won't work, okay? Okay, because of the 6x squared. We've got to consider the factors of 6. There they are. We also have to consider the factors of 15. There they are. And we need some sort of organized process. In this video, what I do is I show you trial and error, which is how I was trained up to do it. I show you a table method that I kind of invented. And finally, I show you the X method, which I think a lot of students were trained to do. I'm going to show you that, but then after it, I'm just going to go with trial and error or something called spaghetti. Okay, so let's go back over here. The trial and error method, I'm just explaining it to you. The trial and error method says, oh, I've got to factor this completely. You try different combos until you find the right one. So you find the factors of 6 and 15. All right, let me show you that with some notes. So you typically, on trial and error, you go, okay, the first number is 6. So how about 1 times 6? How about 2 times 3? The second number is 15. How about 1 times 15? And how about 3 times 5? And so you take a combo. Like, for example, it seems like what I chose to do in this case is I chose 1 and 6, and I went 1x and 6x. Okay, see what I'm saying? Those, if I put a 1 and a 6 and you multiply, I get 6x squared. Beautiful. He's taken care of. And then it looks like I chose 3 and 5. I put a 3 there and a 5 there. When I multiply the L in FOIL, I get 15. That guy's taken care of. But here's the problem. When you multiply the inner and outer products, the 6x squared's cool, the 15's cool, but when I do the inner and outer guys, these guys add up to 23x. Guess what we need? We need a 19x. So the middle term is not right. What do we do after that? We try other combos until we get it right. That's it. Trial and error says you are restricted to factors of 6 and to 15, and you try all the different ways to put them together till you hit the one that gets you the correct middle term. It's the middle term that you're aiming for at the end, and if you get it, you write your answer and you're happy and you're done. Excuse me. Through the years of teaching this stuff, and believe you me, math teachers don't agree with each other on how to factor trinomials, what's the easiest way, etc. But I came across this as my way of organizing. It's like trial and error, only you do it in a table. Okay, so what I'm doing here is put the trinomial terms along the top row. There they are. The trinomial we're trying to factor is 6x squared plus 19x plus 15. Find the factors of 6 and 15, which are in red up here, so I won't bother rewriting them. Use the well, let's do it anyway, because why? Because I need to see it. So I'll go 6 is 1 times 6, 2 times 3, 15 is 1 times 15, and 3 times 5. Okay, got the factors going on. Using the factors of 6, place 2 x terms in the first column, which is, we're talking about this column right here. And what I'm saying in the notes is, they multiply to make 6x squared. So if I multiply here, I get the 6x squared. Likewise, you place two factors for 15 in the third column, and if I multiply those guys, I get the 15. Okay, so instead of writing it in this format where you're already putting it in that form, I'm actually putting it in columns. Then I'm checking by doing the next step, which is multiply across the first column and third column. So in other words, we're going, what is x times 3 is 3x. 6x times 5 is 18x. And what has to happen is that these guys have to add to the 19 in the middle. And they don't. They make 23. It's a bummer. Okay? All right. So what do you have to do? Well, you got to try other combinations. So for example, instead of 1x and 6x, how about 2x and 3x? They multiply to make 6x squared, check. How about 5 and 3 in this order maybe? They multiply to make 15, check. And now here's the thing. When you multiply in the middle, you get the following. You get the 2x times the 5 is 10x. The 3x times the 3 is 9x. And you add them together, and I have a typo here. It's actually supposed to be 19x. Okay. When you add them together, don't make typos, you're happy. Those are the winning numbers. Now, how you write the answer from the table, it's this. What happens is you actually have to take the 2x, put it with the 3. You go, all right, my answer is 2x plus 3, and the next answer is 3x plus 5. That kind of trips people out. You don't go straight across, but you see the arrows, the crisscross. That's your actual answer, okay, when you write out your binomial. It helps a lot of students in the past. Okay, so finally, you've got and you can pause and stare at that and go, I don't like it. Like I said, I'll just be doing trial and error on these things. The third and final way of doing this is the so-called X method that some of you guys were raised up on. And essentially what it's saying is, you take your polynomial, you draw a big X over here, and you multiply the first and the last terms together. So it looks like I'm going to take this guy times that, 6 times 15, I forget the x squared, I just go 6 times 15 is 90. That goes here. Then you take the middle number and you leave off the x and you put it down here. And then you're supposed to figure out, draw a big X, or going through the steps, you're supposed to find the factors of 90 that add up to 19. So yeah, here's 90. Yeah, you can start 1 times 90, 2 times 45, and 10 minutes later you finally get down to, 9 times 10, and you found it. So you can put 9 and 10, or as I did, 10 and 9, you place it that way. So the X method is actually, the X is really meant to help you find the two numbers, 9 and 10, that make the thing work. What do you mean make the thing work? Well, what you do, this is the step. Now you rewrite the trinomial as using the 10 and 9 as X terms. So watch this. This is how people learned it, I think, in high school or wherever. 6x squared plus 19x plus 15, we're going to rewrite as 6x squared plus 10x plus 9x plus 15. So these numbers we found are being used there. All right, so what? So now you take this thing and you factor by, I told you it was coming back, grouping. So for people that are doing the X method, you need to be masters at factor by grouping, because the last step is to take out the GCF of each guy and look for the common binomial factor, and finally write your answer. Okay? Notice that up here, it's 2x plus 3, 3x plus 5. Down here, 3x plus 5, 2x plus 3. Do we care? No, we don't care. It is what it is. Okay, so that's a real brisk look at the ways of doing things. I don't think too many people are going to do the table method and kind of wonder, why did I put that in there? It's an alternative to trial and error. You put it in a table. You might like it. Then watch the video a few times. You might ask for it in class. Okay, and we can do it during Zoom. So it's up to you how you decide to factor these beasties. I think I'll stick with trial and error with a spaghetti twist. So what I'm saying is, okay, here's a new example. And what I'm doing is what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my guy this way. I don't know what's going to go in there. We're going to figure it out. And it's going to go, I'm going to write the factors of 8. There they are. Write the factors of negative 15. There they are. And here comes the spaghetti. You look over the list until you see a combination, kind of like Sudoku or something. You're looking for a combination that gets you to 14. And you can see the arrows. I already found it, but you're mentally doing it. A lot of times it's the smaller numbers that work, but watch this. Okay, 4 times 5 is 20, but then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. What happens when we add them together? 14. We're happy. We're happy. Say you're happy. Okay, so the winning numbers, I look at them, there they are, and I put them together expertly. The 2 and the 4 are in this case, the D terms. So I'll go 2D, 4D, and now the negative 3 and the 5 go together in such a way that 2 multiplies with negative 3. If I put the negative 3 here, when you FOIL, they don't multiply together. You get it? So instead, the negative 3 should go here, so that when you FOIL, they multiply, and that means the plus 5 goes here, and that means we're done. Okay? That's the so-called spaghetti. The spaghetti is, if I'm doing this on a whiteboard in a classroom, it just kind of zooms around like this, like pieces of spaghetti, and we did it. And sometimes you don't get it. But anyway, here I am finishing it in your notes as well. And you can see I left the arrows there to show you the multiplication has to be right. Hey, that's how it's done. No one said it was easy. Here are 3 problems for you to work on. So again, watch out for the GCF in the third problem. And I'm going to solve these for you. But why don't you try it first? Okay. So for this one, I know it's going to go something times something else. Okay, let's figure it out. The factors of 5 are 1 times 5, not hard. The factors of 2 are 1 times 2, not hard at all. How should I put these guys together? Here comes the spaghetti. How about 5 times 2 is 10, 1 times 1 is 1, add up to 11, we're happy. So it should be W and 5W, doesn't matter which order, but this order matters. The 5 has to multiply with 2. So you got to put the 2 in the other parentheses so that when you FOIL, you get that. And that means the 1 belongs here. And they're both positive. And we're done. Happy. Next one. Okay, again, I notice it's going to go like this. So I'm going to look at the factors of 6, which are 1 times 6, 2 times 3. Factors of minus 10, okay. Minus 1 times 10. 1 times minus 10, minus 2 times 5, 2 times minus 5, and do the spaghetti. I'm trying to get 11. How do I get 11 out of this mess? I think I see it. You ready? You ready? I see it. I look at the little numbers first, but look at that. That's 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Add up to 11. We did it. Now we write the answer. So these are the magic combos. You see how fast I can go through that? That takes experience. You can look at it. You can be twice as long, 3 times as long, 4 times as long, and still be okay on a test. Still be okay. So we'll go for this answer. It should be, these are the first guys. So it's 2x, 3x. Let's see, 2 multiplies with negative 2. Put them on the other side. So the 5 goes here as a plus. This is done. All right, and so the last one, thank you for the warning, because I might have just attacked it as is. But really what I'm seeing here is a nasty little GCF. What's the GCF? 5. What happens if we take out 5? Well, you divide it away to get, looks like 6h squared plus a single h, and then minus, what is that, 15? I think that's 15, right? Oh, no, not this again. Yeah, 15. Okay, now we concentrate on this guy. So we know it's going to be a 5 times something times something. So I'm going to look at the factors. Factors of 6 again. You get kind of familiar with them. 1 times 6, 2 times 3. And the factors of minus 15. Watch the sign. Minus 1 times 15. 1 times minus 15. Minus 3 times 5. 3 times minus 5. And spaghetti. Reminds me of the musical from long ago. And spaghetti. Yeah, okay, so we need a single 1. See this guy right there? H, you just need 1. How do we get 1 out of this? There's, oh, I see it. Do you see it? I'm not sure I see it. Yeah, here it is. I have to think. That's 10. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Add them up, it's 1. We're happy. Write the answer down. It's 2H, 3H. 2 multiplies with 5, put them on the other side, and 3 multiplies with negative. So this is a negative 3, positive 5, and this is done. And you know what? I think the video is done. I think that's it for this particular guy. So I hope that's making sense to you. I hope it gives you confidence that you can play the same number game. And that's what we're talking about here, the second part of this section. All right.